Hello, everyone. I'm Pamela Chogo, and in this particular session, I'm going to be sharing a little bit about pitching, as pitching is one of the requirements. If you have a business, if you have an innovation activity, if you are an entrepreneur, but also in your interview, etc. Pitching is something that you'll commonly come across. And it is important if you manage to have the necessary tips that would help you have a successful pitch deck. So I will start by elaborating what is a business pitch, although, as I mentioned earlier, it's not only for business, it can also be for a social enterprise, or it can also be what you do in a job interview, etc. So a business pitch is a presentation of a solution or business idea to a group of people who can help turn it into a reality, or pitching can be done for a new or existing project. So when we talk of pitching, it is basically presenting your solution or your idea or whatever you have to present in front of a group of people or in front of an investor. And this can be done for a new business or a new solution or for an existing. So if you're an innovator or entrepreneur, pitching is an ongoing activity. It is not something that you'll only do once. So you'll pitch to your customers, you'll pitch to your investors, you'll pitch to the bank if you want a loan or something like that. So pitching is something that you'll get to do every now and then. So pitching can be done to new investors who can help fund your idea. So maybe you have this idea and you want someone to help fund it, then you pitch in front of investors. But also funding investors. So if you already have investors, at some point you'll pitch maybe for them to increase their financial support or any other support around your project. But also we have to pitch for customers who are willing to pay for a product or service. And we also have to pitch for those who advocate our products and services. So those who are going to support us. So for instance, this video I've prepared for Startup Center students who are going to pitch at the career day. And now at that particular platform, you'll be pitching for various issues. First, you don't know who is there, so you might get a potential investor. Or secondly, you already have an investor. For instance, the Business Startup Center is supporting you. So it means with your pitching, you make us know you better, and maybe you make us or you push us into supporting you more. But also, as mentioned, there's also pitching for a customer, and lastly, advocates. So some other people might not be your customers or they might not be investors, but they can spread the word. So if you pitch properly and they understand, then they will be advocating your product or service. So there are different types of business pitch. So we have the investor's pitch, where here you are looking for partners or supporters, mostly financial support. And with these investors, most of the time, apart from knowing your solution and knowing the problem that you're solving, their main interest on what they'll get out of the business. So what is in for them? So that is very important when you're doing a pitch for investors. But you also have the sell pitch, where you're pitching so that someone can buy. And at the sales pitch, the main focus is on the uniqueness of your product. You give general description, not too much details, but general description, giving someone the reason to buy your product or service. At this point, it's where you'll bring out the value you're offering, your value proposition. So this is very important during the sales pitch. And then we have the product pitch. Now with the product pitch, it's a bit of an extension of a sales pitch, because with a product pitch, you'll also talk deeply about your product, the different features building up your product, but also, again, you talk of the uniqueness, but everything that you think is important for your audience in respect to your product. But also we have job pitch, as I said earlier. Pitching is also used during interview. So in a job pitch, you could present yourself, saying what you can offer. So this can be an interview in a professional job, but can also be a pitch. If you want to offer your service to another organization, then you might also have to pitch what you can offer and maybe your pricing and everything. And then we have pitching in the workplace, which allows employees to pitch if they have a new idea that is going to be innovative within the organization. Then pitching at the workplace is done to convince your boss, to convince your team, to convince your employer, etc., on a certain innovative solution that you're coming up with. So usually, when we talk of business pitch, they usually have different structures, and also we have different templates. And the importance of following structure, the importance of having a template is that it helps you know what next, but also it helps you know depending on the audience you're talking to, it also helps you know where to focus more. As I mentioned earlier, if you're talking to investors, then you'll stress on the return. If you're talking to, it's a sales pitch, you press on the value so that someone can purchase. So statistically, it turns out that people retain structured information up to 40% more accurately than information presented in free form. So if your pitch is structured, doesn't mean like every time you pitch, you need to have a PowerPoint presentation, or every time you pitch, you need to have a paper. No. But the moment you've been able to memorize your pitch, it will always come with a flow. So later we'll be seeing the flow, but having that flow makes your audience get to understand better what you're trying to say. So with this structure, we have what we call the WEHAC method that is being used in the world to help in pitching. And with the WEHAC method, the W stands for what is it and what do you offer. So here it's about the product and the problem you're solving. And then H stands for how does it work? So a description of the business model, the features of the product or service, etc. And A stands for are you sure? So here it's where you bring in the traction, showing that how you've proved your concept, proof of concept. So you're sure of your product and service, and you're showing that you've proved it somewhere. And lastly, the C stands for can you do it? So you're showing them that whatever I'm speaking here is not just an hypothesis, but I'm sure that it is doable. So how to persuade your audience with your business pitch? So tips to help make your business pitch more interacting, relatable, and most of all, convince your audience to say yes. So at the end of the day, whoever you're pitching to, you want them to say yes. So first, understand your audience. So you have to know who you're going to talk to. And then second, focus your message. Of course, sometimes in understanding your audience, it's a bit tricky, because if it is an event that has invited different stakeholders, sometimes you're not very sure of who you are speaking to specifically. You might have investors, you might have customers all in one group. But it is always important to study your audience and know who you're going to talk to, and hence twist your pitch according to the audience. Focus your message. So when we talk of a pitch, that's why I'm saying it is structured. The structuredness also looks into the time that you'll be pitching. Now, most of the time when we present in the traditional way, we usually have a lot of words and stories that we bring in. But when you're doing a pitch, you have to focus your message. You have to know what I want to say and when I should say it. What should come first and what should come next. and then give right information. Now, with pitching, I'll be showing you later, it is important to use statistics, but also to refer and cite different authors or publications in respect to your areas of expertise. Now, it is very, very important for you to give accurate information. Giving wrong information can deny you investment opportunities. It can deny you customers, because once you're there giving your pitch, the statistics that you give, someone is going online and trying to prove if what you're saying is correct. So this is very, very important to give the right information. And then the fourth is use your numbers and data to tell a story. So always record keeping is very important, and this is what will help you to tell your story. And people relate much to numbers. So the moment there are figures, people understand more. So if you're giving your pitch maybe in a conference environment, in a place where you can use visual aids, then it is advised to use visual aids. The use of animation, pictures is very important, but it should not be too much. You can have slides that are colorful and very innovatively made, but it shouldn't be too much, because if it is too much, it is going to distract the audience, and you don't want the audience to be distracted. Always have your elevator pitch ready. So I'll be talking about elevator pitch in a while, but always have your shortest pitch ready. Like, always practice and practice and practice. A little bit about elevator pitch is that this is the kind of pitch that you'll do if you get the opportunity to get a potential person, maybe a potential investor, and you've met at the elevator, and this trip with the elevator is going to take you 2 minutes or 3 minutes. So what are you going to tell this person to make him or her interested, so that they can make you book an appointment? So this is very, very important. But generally, when you talk of a pitch, it needs to be short, simple, and honest. So I'll end there for the first part. And when I come back, I'll continue with the contents of a pitch. Thank you.